Mataram Vande Mataram Sujalam Sufalam Malayaj Shitalam Shasya Shamalam Mataram Vande Mataram Shubhra Jyotsna Pulakitayamini Hulla Kusumita Drumadala Shobhini Suhasini Sumadhura Bhashini Sukhadam Varadam Mataram Vande Mataram Vande Mataram Vande Mataram.
Chief guest, Professor David Gross, Chairman Board of Governors, IIT Madras, Dr. Pawan Goenka, members of the Board of Governors, members of the Senate, graduates, distinguished invitees, colleagues and students. We celebrated the Diamond Jubilee of our institute in 2019 with a memorable convocation graced by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji in this very hall with all the graduates in attendance. Little did we anticipate then that in the coming year, the world will be brought to its knees by a pandemic, forcing us to move our academic activities substantially to the online mode. In tandem, this year's convocation too is therefore being conducted virtually. While we miss the festive atmosphere of the event that all our graduates look forward to eagerly, we hope this virtual convocation will linger in our memories as a symbol of the resilience our students and alumni are well known for. Our most distinguished chief guest, the Nobel laureate Professor David Gross, and our chairman Dr. Pawan Goenka are not able to join us here today. However, they will be addressing us from their locations in Santa Barbara, USA and Mumbai, respectively, making up substantially for their inability to attend in person. Our graduates are also scattered all over India and indeed in different parts of the world and are joining this event from their locations. We do, however, have a small surprise for you from the winners of the President of India Prize and the Governor's Prize. I would urge you to wait and watch. At the very outset, I am delighted to report that IIT Madras has not only sustained the #1 ranking among engineering institutions in the NIRF for the 5th year in a row since inception of the ranking, but also retained its numero uno position for the 2nd year in a row for overall performance among all universities in India. IIT Madras also retained its position as a top innovative educational institution in the country in the Atal ranking of institutions on innovation achievements 2020 for the 2nd time since inception of the ranking. I congratulate the students, faculty and staff at our institute for raising the bar ever higher with each passing year. We were recognized as an institute of eminence towards the end of 2019, and the implementation of our plans to improve our global standing are being kicked off even as I speak. Our strategic plan 2013 to 2020, whose targets we have met or exceeded in every aspect, has brought us this far. Our plans as an institute of eminence will propel us further and take us to greater heights in the coming years. The pandemic led to a nationwide lockdown in March of this year, and educational institutions have remained closed since. Our students dropped everything and left campus for their homes in a hurry. While we were disoriented for a brief while, we did not waste too much time and restarted classes online within a couple of weeks. The country is served for the most part with wireless broadband, and broadband connectivity with a reasonable nationwide footprint has become available only since 2016. The coverage is still patchy, and several of our students are not able to join classes live and are depending on offline downloaded lectures to keep the scoreboard moving. Nevertheless, due to the heroic efforts of our faculty and students, we completed classes for the January-May semester in time to enable our graduating students to take up their jobs and our pre-final year students to take up internships in the summer, many of them in the online mode. Our graduating research scholars and students with projects also wound up their theses from home. Using a combination of assignments and oral exams conducted online and sometimes on telephone, our faculty went out of their way to ensure that every student who could graduate in the normal course indeed did so, despite the hurdles placed by the pandemic. I am proud to report that today 1,909 students will be awarded their degrees, 413 of whom have earned 2 degrees. All but 406 of these are postgraduates, and among these are 353 PhD awardees, representing the highest number ever in a single year. The class of 2020 includes 8 joint PhD awardees with National University of Singapore, Curtin University, and Swinburne University. It also includes, for the first time, 59 interdisciplinary dual degree graduates who upgraded from the UG program to obtain master's degrees in data science, computational engineering, robotics, nanotechnology, and energy systems, and 51 from industry who have earned their master's degrees through our web-enabled executive programs in engineering specializations and business administration. I congratulate the graduating students of the class of 2020, as well as their teachers and supervisors, for demonstrating tremendous resilience in completing their degree requirements in these trying circumstances. I am sure that in addition to their professional expertise, the experience they have gained in overcoming the challenges posed by the pandemic will stand them in good stead in their careers. We launched during the last academic year one more interdisciplinary dual degree upgrade program in the exciting area of quantum science and technology, open to all our undergraduate students from all disciplines, taking the total number of such programs offered at IIT Madras to 8. On June 30th of this year, the country's first online undergraduate degree program in programming and data science at IIT Madras was launched by the Honorable Union Minister for Education, Shri Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank. This program will establish a new paradigm through which IITs can contribute to meet the nation's high gross enrollment ratio target under the new education policy 2020 by making high quality education in an emerging field accessible to everyone who is willing and able to meet our exacting standards. We believe this game-changing initiative will set the stage for many similar programs and disciplines that can be taught online with high quality. Our faculty and scholars continue to excel in research by asking tougher questions, publishing more, collaborating more widely with peers worldwide, and by securing more funds for research, both from government and from industry. While we were running our research activities at full throttle in March, the pandemic and subsequent lockdown brought everything to a screeching halt. Within a few weeks, those who could manage to continue their research online started doing so from home, while those who needed to work in their labs had to mostly mark time. Beginning August, we were able to enable a limited number of scholars to return to the labs in a safe manner and restart their research activities. The number of such scholars is increasing with every passing week as we carefully explore ways for them to work in the labs and stay in the hostels in a safe manner. While we are reconciled to some unavoidable delays affecting the ongoing research, we are trying to ensure that the long-term impact on the careers of our scholars is minimal. It is heartwarming to note that enrollment of new PhD scholars in the current academic year has been even higher than normal. Interviews and admissions were conducted online, and the newly admitted scholars have begun with a few online courses while they wait for the earliest opportunity to come to the campus. Our faculty continued to earn accolades during the academic year gone by. Notable among the academic honors bestowed on them are the following. Professor T. Pradeep was awarded the Padma Shri. He was also chosen for the Nikkei Asia Science and Technology Prize for 2020 in recognition of his pioneering work in nanotechnology-based water purification. Dr. Shweta Agarwal of the Computer Science and Engineering Department was chosen for the Swarna Jayanti Fellowship 2019-20. Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala was elected as the Life Fellow of the IEEE. Professors Shankar Raman and Bhaskaran were elected as Fellows of INSA. Professors Nandita Dasgupta, K. Srinivas Reddy, and V. Sundar were elected Fellows of the INAE. Professor K. Kamraj was elected as Fellow of the Indian Institute of Metals. Professors Nitish Mahapatra, Suresh Kumar Rayala, and G. Sekhar were elected as Fellows of NASI. Professors Ramesh Gardas, Satyanarayan Gumadi, and M. Jagan Mohan were elected as Fellows of the Royal Society of Chemistry. Professors Kamakoti and Sujata Srinivasan were conferred the Abdul Kalam Technology Innovation National Fellowship by INAE. And Professor Gandham Fani Kumar was conferred the Metallurgist of the Year Award by the Ministry of Steel, Government of India. 6 of our young faculty, Drs. Anubhav Roy, Ati Narayan N., Subhadeep Banerjee, Gita Krishnan Ramagudurai, Joe Thomas Karakattu, and V. Vijayalakshmi, have won the Young Faculty Recognition Award of the Institute for the year 2019-20. While Professors Ramesh Gardas and Manu Santanam have been awarded the Mid-Career Research and Development Award, and Dr. Tiju Thomas has been awarded the Early Career R&D Award. Based on the recommendations of the peer review committee of our institute, 9 more senior professors have been recognized as institute chair professors this year for their outstanding achievements. The institute continues to attract substantial funding for its research and consultancy activities from both ministries of the Government of India and from industry. During the past 5 years, the former grew at a compounded annual growth rate, CAGR, of 17%, while the funding from industry grew at a more healthy 26%. In 2019-20, the institute received sanction for 294 ministry-sponsored projects for a total value of 333 crores and 650 consultancy and industry-sponsored projects amounting to rupees 250 crore. We filed for 191 patents during the year, of which 62 are international filings, and we were granted 58. The IIT Madras Incubation Cell and its sector-specific incubators for biosciences, medical technology, and rural technologies, all housed in the Institute's Research Park, the first of its kind in the country, continue to incubate companies at the rate of nearly 1 a week, with a total portfolio of 207 startups. Founded by IITM faculty, staff, students, and alumni, and not a few external entrepreneurs, the companies span the breadth of deep tech areas in globally critical domains, including manufacturing, robotics, data science, IoT, clean tech, energy, water, healthcare, and agri-tech. Several companies started a few years ago have received Series A and B funding and are now attracting Series B and C funding at significant valuations. Notable among these are Ather Energy with their smart scooters, which are now seen on the roads of Chennai and Bangalore, Uniforce Systems in the conversational AI space, now headquartered in California and with offices in India and Singapore, Stellapps, who excel in dairy IoT with a subsidiary in France, Planis, with their unique underwater smart inspection robots with operations in India, Netherlands, UAE, and Singapore, Detect Technologies, who provide IoT-driven industrial asset monitoring and inspection with operations in India and the US, among several others. The total valuation of IITM incubated startups is now in excess of rupees 7,000 crores, with 88 startups in the market generating revenue of 366 crores in financial year 19-20 and creating more than 4,000 jobs. It is pertinent to note that all these are deep technology startups that incorporate sophisticated engineering and high-end manufacturing in their products. IITM startups have received wide recognition through prestigious forums, including the Economic Times Startup Awards, which were won in 2020 by Agnikul and Samunnati, as top innovator and social enterprise, respectively, and the National Startup Awards 2020, conferred by DIPP, Government of India, which were won by Planis for robotics and Fabheads for 3D printing. IIT Madras continues to partner with several international universities and signed 21 MOUs and renewed 15 others to enable student exchanges and faculty collaborations, taking the total number of active partnerships to around 256. Flowing from its exchange programs, IIT Madras received 181 international students during the academic year and sent 141 of our own students to various universities abroad. Before the pandemic brought a temporary lull to the exchange programs. A total of 51 scholars are enrolled in joint PhD programs with our partner universities. IIT Madras has since 2014 been honoring staff who have excelled in their performance with the non-academic staff recognition awards. The winners of the awards for 2019-20 are Dr. Mahendra Jadhav for meritorious leadership and Messrs. N. Mohan and Sri R. Elangovan under the administrative category, and Messrs. V. Janardhanam and B. Manikandan under the technical category for outstanding service. Infrastructure development has continued apace despite some delays due to the stoppage of a few months during the lockdown. New hostels, academic buildings, and married student housing are coming up, most of which will be ready in 2021. The National Technology Center for Ports, Waterways and Coasts is the first research center that is nearing completion at the second campus in Tayur. Old academic buildings and hostels are undergoing renovation to raise the standard of fitment, and the old utility infrastructure on campus is being renewed. The campus maintenance and engineering staff, as well as the security staff, have worked heroically right through the lockdown and thereafter to keep the campus humming without incident. We are indebted to them for their Herculean efforts. The annual cultural festival Sarang and technical festival Shastra were both conducted with aplomb by our students in January 2020 and had very good participation and footfall from students from across the country. Shastra 2020 saw the first ever assistive technology makeathon hosted with the help of the R2D2 lab of our institute. Both festivals are ruled out in January 2021 with in-person participation, though I am sure our students will come up with interesting online alternatives to keep the flag flying. Our sports activities were spread out throughout the year. In September 2019, the Intercollegiate Invitation Tournament, Agrata 2019, was conducted for city colleges. IITM clinched second position in the athletics and basketball tournaments. In the 35th Intra-IIT Aquatics Meet, the IIT Madras Aquatics contingent, called the Madras Sharks, clinched the overall swimming championship in both the men's category for the 4th time and the women's category for the 5th time in a row. The contingent received 16 golds, 4 silvers and 2 bronzes and a bronze in water polo and broke 2 records. In the 54th Inter-IIT Sports Meet, the IITM women's contingent was adjudged the 1st and the overall IITM contingent was adjudged the 3rd in the general championship. Ramesh Naidu, a student of electrical engineering, was part of the Indian national team that clinched the trophy at the Physical Disability World Series organized by ICC in August 2019 in London. Our Office of Hostel Management, along with a large number of volunteer faculty members serving in various capacities, take care of our students in the hostels. Even in normal times, this is an onerous task, but the pandemic brought with it hitherto unseen challenges. Almost all students left for home in a hurry, leaving their belongings behind. When some hostels had to be cleared and handed over to the civic authorities for use as quarantine centers, and later, when the belongings of the graduating students who are graduating today had to be packed and shipped, the onus fell on the management and faculty volunteers to ensure their secure and safe handling. Later, when research scholars started returning, the SOPs for quarantine and safe living in the hostels were also implemented by them. Today, if the rooms of more than 1,900 graduates have been cleared and several hundred have returned to the campus to continue their research safely, it is entirely due to the selfless efforts of the hostel staff and the volunteer faculty. A total of 924 students, including 126 with pre-placement offers, got placed through our placement office during the past academic year, of which nearly 36% were in core engineering and R&D companies, 24% were in analytics, consulting and finance, and 24% in information technology. The placement season also saw a 25% increase in pre-placement offers, which are a very healthy sign. I'm happy to report that most of the companies have continued to honor the offers made to the students, even if some have deferred the joining dates. Before the lockdown began, 99 companies visited the campus for internships, resulting in 504 students getting internship offers through the internship cell. Many others got offers later online, and I'm happy to say that most of our students who wanted to do a summer internship were able to do so through the online mode during May to July of the current year. We honored Mr. Chandran Ratnaswamy, Mr. Paresh Chari, Dr. Mridula Nair, Mr. Mahesh Wagle, Mr. Rajkumar Duraiswamy, Professor Sivaramkrishnan Balachandar, Professor Kumaran Vishwanathan, Dr. Ramakrishnan Shrikant, Professor Vijay Shenoy, Mr. Arvind Nitra Kashyap, and Dr. Girija Vaidyanathan, with the Institute's Distinguished Alumnus Awards for their outstanding achievements in the areas of entrepreneurship, leadership and management, academics and research, and social and technological innovation. We were unfortunately not able to bestow the awards on them at our Institute Day function due to the cancellation of the Institute Day function, but we hope to make amends next year along with the awardees for 2021. The Board of Governors has constituted the Institute Advisory Board with eminent alumni, academicians, and industry leaders as members to advise the Institute on best practices gleaned from academic institutions worldwide and help the Institute grow and manage its endowment better. We look forward to their wise counsel to take our Institute forward. In 2019-20, our Development Office and the IIT Madras Foundation raised a record 113.72 crores, exceeding our previous highest tally by nearly rupees 40 crores. The number of donors during the year also crossed 1,000 for the first time. Our alumni and other well-wishers support many important projects on campus, from research labs to refitment of the hostels, which every one of them cherishes, to scholarships for students who are in need. We are very grateful for their support and, even more importantly, for their mind share. An endeavor on the scale of this institute and its entire gamut of activities takes place with the wholehearted participation and support of all stakeholders: our faculty, students and staff, agencies and industries sponsoring R&D and consultancy projects, professionals from other organizations who assist us in various capacities, and our alumni with their generous support to our various activities. In particular, I'd like to thank office bearers such as heads of departments, deans, chairpersons, wardens, advisors, and professors in charge of various cells and centers for the selfless work they put in to keep the institute ticking. The institute is grateful to the Ministry of Education, Government of India, for its continued and sustained encouragement and support. I also wish to thank the Government of Tamil Nadu for all the support it continues to extend in different ways. I wish to thank Dr. Pawan Goenka, our Chairman, Board of Governors, and all board members for their wise counsel, support and guidance, enabling us to scale new heights. I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest today, Nobel laureate Professor David Gross, for gracing this convocation. We are eager to listen to his message for the graduating class of 2020. I would like to congratulate the prize winners today and wish all our graduates happiness, professional success and fulfillment from a life of service to their profession, family and country. God bless you all. I now request our Chairman, Board of Governors, Dr. Pawan Goenka, to address the graduating class of 2020. Jai Hind.
Distinguished graduating class of 2020, family members, respected Chief Guest Professor David Gross, esteemed members of the Board of Governors, Professor Bhaskar Ramamurthy, members of the Senate, faculty and staff of IIT Madras, special invitees and guests. It is my pleasure to welcome you, though virtually, to the 57th convocation ceremony of IIT Madras. On behalf of the Board of Governors, I'd like to welcome Professor David Gross, recipient of the 2004 Nobel Prize in Physics and the Chancellor's Chair Professor of Theoretical Physics at the University of California, Santa Barbara. Professor Gross, reading your autobiography, one paragraph holds great relevance to the students and professors at IIT Madras. Quote, "I have always enjoyed collaborating with other physicists and students rather than working in solitude. I always found it difficult to come up with trivial or easy problems that I could assign to a student and preferred to involve students in the much more ambitious projects that I myself was working on. Such collaborations were no doubt good learning for my students, but were also very beneficial for me." End of quote. Taking on ambitious projects, belief in the capabilities of the youth, and power of collaboration is exactly what our country needs today. Thank you, Professor Gross, for taking time to be part of this convocation ceremony. Class of 2020, you have a very special distinction. The distinction of graduating from an institute which has been ranked the #1 engineering college in India for 5 years in a row. Further, IIT Madras also secured #1 position in the Atal rankings of institutions on innovation achievements. This is true reflection of the collective commitment of our faculty, administration, staff, and students. On behalf of the Board of Governors, I would like to congratulate everyone at IIT Madras for this accomplishment. Class of 2020, today is the day all of you would have been eagerly looking forward to. There are many who have been instrumental in helping you achieve this dream: your parents, other family members, professors, and friends. You have truly made them proud. I would like to congratulate all 1909 of you on this momentous occasion and wish you all the very best as you transition into the next phase of life. As you make this transition from an IIT student to an IIT alumni, do realize that it is both a privilege and a legacy that you have to live up to. You're not just mere engineers or PhDs with high skills, but you are an empowered global citizen of modern India. As empowered global citizens, and given what the world is going through today, there is probably no better time than now to contribute to make the world a better place. I'm sure none of you would have imagined that your convocation would be held virtually with everyone sitting at home. Many of you will be wondering, where does this end? While COVID-19 is without doubt the biggest health and economic crisis mankind has faced, I would want to share a slightly different perspective. The pandemic has given us the opportunity to define a new normal for how we work and how we live. And once we are out of the fear of catching the virus, the new normal, in fact, may be better than what we will be leaving behind. COVID has accelerated the rate of tech adoption across streams of life. The changes which would have taken 5 to 6 years have happened in just about 3 to 4 months. Few examples: use of telemedicine, digital transactions, digital enablement of working from home, connecting virtually with co-workers, launching new products, managing businesses, online education, policymakers and deliberations with senior government officers over video, connecting with our family and friends over various social media platforms. In addition to the pandemic, the geopolitical scenario had also changed, resulting in realignment of manufacturing value chains, creating opportunities for Make in India and for India's participation in global value chains. This, I believe, is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Indian technology and manufacturing sectors. And then we have the clarion call by our Honorable Prime Minister to be Atmanirbhar. What does Atmanirbhar really mean? To me, Atmanirbhar is not about making everything in India or to become totally insular. That will lead to an economic disaster in the long run. Atmanirbhar to me is first to take pride in what we do and what our country does. It is about removing all our business disabilities. It is about being world-class in our product and service offerings. It is about innovating, developing technology, and creating a pull for our offerings. It is about developing India as a source of distinct value add and globally competitive technology and manufacturing destination. In my view, Atmanirbhar Bharat is one phrase that has the potential to change the landscape of R&D, technology, and manufacturing in India. It has a potential to bring pride in Made in India. The road to Atmanirbhar and the dream of putting India on the world map will come from technology and innovation rather than labor cost arbitrage. And this is where you, class of 2020, can play a big role. You can create building blocks of inclusive growth by leveraging technology. India needs robust, accessible, and innovative technology solutions to improve the quality of life and be on par with global standards, and maybe even define global benchmarks. And Atmanirbhar Bharat needs solutions for Industry 4.0, robotics, drones, electric vehicles, modern agriculture, data analytics, machine learning, connectivity, affordable and accessible healthcare, indigenous defense equipment, space technology. It even needs world-class toys and fitness equipment. The list is endless. My interactions with professors, research scholars, startups, and students at IIT Madras has convinced me that the caliber of research and innovation in India is as good as anywhere else in the world. What we need is to increase industry collaboration and hasten the process from lab to field. Hence, I urge you that no matter what, don't go too far from science and technology. This is where the action is and is going to be for times to come. If you recollect the original vision of IITs, it was to advance the bubbling aspirations of post-independent India towards a modern India. Today, renew your zeal to work towards this vision. Today is the time to commit yourself to creating an Atmanirbhar Bharat. So go out and fulfill the great IIT legacy that you are fortunate to have inherited. Go out and influence the change. Go ahead and live the pledge that you are making today. Best wishes to all. Stay safe and God bless.
Thank you. It is my privilege and honor to introduce our chief guest, Nobel laureate David J. Gross. David Gross is the Chancellor's Chair Professor of Theoretical Physics and former Director of Kavli Institute for Theoretical Physics at UC Santa Barbara. He received his PhD in 1966 at UC Berkeley and was previously Thomas Jones Professor of Mathematical Physics at Princeton University. He has been a central figure in particle physics and string theory. His discovery with his student Frank Wilczek of asymptotic freedom, the primary feature of non-abelian gauge theories, led Gross and Wilczek to the formulation of quantum chromodynamics, the theory of the strong nuclear force. Asymptotic freedom is a phenomena where the nuclear force weakens at short distances, which explains why experiments at very high energy can be understood as if nuclear particles are made of non-interacting quarks. The flip side of asymptotic freedom is that the forces between quarks grow stronger as one tries to separate them. This is the reason why the nucleus of an atom can never be broken into its quark constituents. QCD completed the standard model which details the three basic forces of particle physics: the electromagnetic force, the weak force, and the strong force. Gross was awarded the 2004 Nobel Prize in Physics with Pulsar and Wilczek for this discovery. He has also made a seminal contributions to the theory of superstrings, a burgeoning enterprise that brings gravity into the quantum framework. With collaborators, he originated the heterotic string theory. His awards include the Sakurai Prize, MacArthur Prize, Dirac Medal, Oscar Klein Medal, Harvey Prize, the EPS Particle Physics Prize, the Grand Médaille d'Or, the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2004, and the Medal of Honor of the Joint Institute for Nuclear Physics, Ljubna. He holds honorary degrees from the US, Britain, France, Israel, Argentina, Brazil, Belgium, China, the Philippines, and Cambodia. His membership includes the US National Academy of Science, the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, the American Philosophical Society, the Indian Academy of Science, the Chinese Academy of Science, the Russian Academy of Science, and TWAS. In 2016, he began a 4-year term in the presidential line of the American Physical Society, where he is currently the past president. On behalf of IIT Madras, now I request Professor Gross to deliver the convocation address. Thank you.
Dear Dr. Gunke and Director Ramamurthy, distinguished members of the faculties of IIT Madras, parents, friends, and especially students, Namaste. I was delighted and honored to be asked last year to give the 2020 convocation address at IIT Madras. My wife and I looked forward to returning to Chennai, meeting old friends, and enjoying some Carnatic music. Little did I imagine that the COVID-19 virus would soon emerge, ravage the world, and make it impossible to travel. But here I am, nevertheless, virtually, and delighted to address you briefly. Many of you are completing your education today and are wondering what the next few years will bring. Well, the one thing I'm sure of is that no one, certainly not I, can give you the answer. The world is undergoing rapid change, and as the events of the last few months show, no one can predict what will happen next week, much less beyond that. The same is true of science and of one's career in science. I received my PhD from the University of California at Berkeley 54 years ago to begin a career in theoretical physics. More specifically, the study of the elementary particles and the fundamental forces of nature. The focus of attention then was the study of two of the four forces of nature, the two forces that operate within the nucleus, the weak force, responsible for radioactivity, and the strong nuclear force that holds the nuclei together. Little was understood. The strong force especially was mysterious. The prevalent feeling was that it would take a very long time to understand the strong nuclear force, and that it would require revolutionary concepts. Freeman Dyson had asserted that the correct theory will not be found in the next 100 years. For a young graduate student such as myself, this was clearly the biggest challenge and what I spent the following years in addressing. Little could I dream that only 7 years after I graduated, we would discover the secret of the strong force that binds quarks within the nucleus. This secret is the phenomena that we call asymptotic freedom. The fact that certain theories, generalizations of electromagnetism, had the property that the force between charged particles would decrease, get smaller at short distances. That explained the free behavior of quarks within nucleons at short distances. And conversely, this force would grow arbitrarily strong at large distances, which could explain why quarks could never be pulled out of the proton. This discovery led us to the beautiful theory that describes this strong nuclear force. And it was this discovery and this theory, quantum chromodynamics, or QCD, that won us the Nobel Prize in Physics. You know, life is not made of years, but of moments. As we look back on our life, what we remember is a collection of moments. None of us remember our beginning, and none of us will remember our end. Most other remembered moments that mark our years are both endings and beginnings. This moment, too, is both a beginning and an ending. For many of you, it's the end of college tuition and perhaps the beginning of repayment of student loans. For many of you, it's the end of the process in which you absorb past knowledge and the beginning of the process where you begin to apply that knowledge or start to pass it on to the next generation. For many of you, it's the end of formal education and the beginning of so-called real life. For many of you, it's the end of the period in life where you receive from your parents and society, and the beginning of the period where you give back to society. And there is much that you can give back, for you are a privileged lot. You are privileged to be citizens of a rapidly growing country with a rich and glorious history that is now moving to take its rightful place in the world. You are fortunate to have lived free of the disease and the hunger and the war that plagued much of humanity for most of time. You are privileged to have attended a great institute of learning and to have acquired much knowledge. You live better than kings and queens did only a few hundred years ago. You know more than the greatest scholars did only a few generations ago. But with all these privileges comes the responsibility to use your knowledge to improve the lot of the less fortunate in your country and around the world, to tackle the many problems and confront the many dangers that my generation has left for you to deal with. And there are many problems and dangers that we all face. The massive inequalities that exist within and among nations. The persistence of useless war and violence. The danger of fanaticism and terror. The threats to the environment and to the health of our planet. None of us could have predicted that in the last months of 2019, a deadly virus would emerge and spread rapidly across the world. However, many scientists predicted that such a pandemic would inevitably arise, yet their warnings were largely ignored. Similarly, many scientists warn of impending disasters due to global warming and climate change, yet these warnings are not being sufficiently addressed. And I take this occasion to warn you all of the continuing and indeed worsening danger of nuclear weapons whose use could destroy all life on the planet. We must not ignore this warning. The cause of many of these problems is sheer ignorance. The ignorance of the science that could solve many of the world's problems, the ignorance of basic facts, such as the fact that all of us had a single mother only a few thousand generations ago, that make racism and bigotry still possible, and the ignorance of other cultures that promotes fanatical nationalism. As the possessors of the knowledge of the 21st century, you have the responsibility to be forces for enlightenment and strive to dispel this ignorance. But ignorance is not all bad. Thomas Jefferson said, "Ignorance is preferable to error, and he is less remote from the truth who believes nothing than he who believes what is wrong." The greatest obstacle to progress is not ignorance, but the illusion of knowledge. The reason that fundamentalists are so dangerous is not that they are ignorant, but they are so certain that they possess the absolute truth. It is this certainty that can lead to repression, bigotry, racism, and fanaticism. The main lesson of science are not the partial truths that we labor to reveal, but our attitude of skepticism towards these truths. We must always remain skeptical, always question our beliefs and confront them with nature. And ignorance itself is not so bad. I often say that the most important product of knowledge is ignorance. Indeed, the driving force of science is the questions we ask, which are the embodiment of our ignorance. As knowledge increases, one might imagine that the pace of scientific discovery would slow, as more and more questions have been answered. But this has not turned out to be the case. As knowledge increases, so does ignorance. The more we know, the more we are aware of what we know not. The questions we ask today are more profound and more interesting than those we asked years ago when I was a student. Many of those questions we have answered. But back then, we did not possess enough knowledge to be as intelligently ignorant as we are today, and therefore to ask the wonderful questions we ask today. Among the questions that we ask us scientists are, how did the universe begin? How many dimensions of space are there? What unifies all the forces of nature? What is the physical origin of consciousness? Is the galaxy teeming with life? And more and more and more. Wonderful questions, most of which I believe will be answered in your lifetime. And some of them you might participate in finding the answers. Lucky you. Some wonder whether someday we'll arrive at a theory of everything and run out of new problems to solve. much as the effort to explore the Earth ran out of new continents to explore. While this is conceivably possible, I'm happy to report that there is no evidence that we are running out of our most important resource, informed ignorance. Finally, reporters often ask me, what advice would you give to students embarking on a scientific career? What advice would you give to graduates of IIT Madras? I feel very uncomfortable answering such a question. Most of the advice I could give is self-evident or might consist of saying, if you want to succeed, be like me. But there are two pieces of advice that I do give all my students, and which I believe is applicable all aspects of life. The first is, follow your heart. You will face many difficult choices in the years ahead. What career to follow? What field of science should you work in? For example, students often ask me, what field of science should I work in? I always answer, try to discover what you truly love to do. And if possible, do that. Because I don't think you can succeed unless you're engaged in what you truly love to do. If you're working in a field which you truly love, and doing work that you truly love to do, then you will be able to marshal the concentration, the creativity, and the hard work necessary for success. And most important, you'll enjoy the journey. And the second bit of advice is aim high and dare to fail. If you attempt goals that might appear to be impossible, you're guaranteed not to achieve all of these goals. If you try, you might very well fail. But so what? You might succeed. And in any case, you'll know that you gave it your best shot and will have fun along the way, especially if you're engaged in what you love. Take a chance. Take a chance to make a difference in all aspects of life. Do not sell your dreams short. Do not be afraid to follow your most ambitious plans and pursue your most outlandish ideas. Dare to connect with other human beings and to love deeply. And if you do, there will be many moments like this, moments of triumphant endings and moments of hopeful beginnings. Thank you and good luck.
I thank Professor David Gross for his address to the graduating class of 2020. We are indeed grateful to him for his participation, despite not being able to be here with us on campus for this convocation. Madam Registrar, please propose the number of candidates who have become eligible for the award of the various degrees of the Institute at this convocation.
Sir, I propose that 1,909 candidates be awarded the degrees of the Institute at this convocation.
By the authority vested in me as the Chairman of the Senate and the Director of the Institute, I award the degrees of the Institute to the eligible candidates in absentia. I also award the prizes to prize-winning candidates presented by the Dean. Mr. Dean Academic Courses, please read out the names of prize winners among the graduates to this august assembly.
President of India Prize for the highest CGPA in BTech and dual degree, Bharat Ratna M. Vishwesvaraya Memorial Prize for the highest CGPA in BTech, Siemens Prize to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in electrical engineering. All three awards are won by Rajat Vadiraj Dwarakanath.
In every convocation since 1964, everyone has looked forward eagerly to the award of the President of India Gold Medal. It would indeed be very disappointing if the awardee is not present here with us for the first time. Rajat informed me that he would try to be here in person. What a pleasant surprise, Rajat. You've gone to extraordinary lengths to be with us here today. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming here to receive your medals. Fantastic, Rajat. This was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Would you now like to share your thoughts with your class of 2020?
Thank you for the awards, Professor Bhaskar. This achievement would not have been possible without the support of numerous people who I am grateful to. My professors who taught me courses and guided me through multiple projects. My wonderful friends who made the past 4 years an amazing time to spend. I'll definitely cherish the memories which we made forever. I would also like to thank my family for their unending support, and especially my brother for his continued guidance as well. Although we could unfortunately not have a complete in-person convocation as a fulfilling conclusion to the past 4 years due to the current circumstances, I still sincerely appreciate the efforts of the director and the production team for making this unique online convocation possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajat, for the wonderful speech and for appearing in person to receive your medals. Thank you very much.
Sri V. Srinivasan Memorial Prize for the highest CGPA in dual degree and Philips India Prize for the highest CGPA in dual degree electrical engineering, both were won by Alfred Festus Davidson. Dr. Shankar Dayal Sarma Prize for the best all-round proficiency in curricular and extracurricular activities in BTech goes to Aravind Pujari, Metallurgical and Materials Engineering. Governor's Prize for the best all-round proficiency in curricular and extracurricular activities in dual degree is won by Hari Ramachandran, Metallurgical and Materials Engineering.
We miss Alfred Davidson and Arvind Pujari, who are not able to be with us here today from their locations abroad. But we are fortunate that Hari is able to join us here today to receive his medal. Thank you, Hari. That was wonderful of you to be able to come here today to receive your medal in person. That was wonderful, Hari, was it not? Will you please now address the class of 2020 and share your thoughts with them?
I'm honored and deeply humbled to receive this award from our director today, and I'm extremely thankful to the Institute for bestowing it on me. My parents and my grandparents have had unwavering faith in me, and their constant support is something that I'm eternally grateful for. My little brother motivates me daily and serves as a source of inspiration and pushes me to be better than I am. I'd like to thank the professors that I've worked with and learned from. They've been invaluable mentors and have shown me the meaning of the word professional, and they've opened my eyes to opportunities. And finally, I'd like to thank my friends for keeping me grounded and for giving me the memories that I cherish. When I think of graduating, a word that keeps coming into my head is the word last. There were so many lasts that we all had. There were some that we were prepared for, like our last Reuter game. There were some that we were not prepared for, like the last time we visited a friend's room in the hostel. And there are some that we're quite frankly grateful for, like the last time we had to evade monkeys on the way to have a shower. The circumstances under which we left the institute means that we didn't know that many of these lasts were indeed lasts. And while that feels extremely unfair, I am deeply appreciative of the time that I got to spend in this campus. September 24th, which passed by recently, marks the 527th anniversary of Christopher Columbus setting out to discover the sea route to India. And as we embark on our quests, I think it's important to remember how we got here. We came into IIT as a fairly homogeneous bunch. We were selected simply because we could think quickly, we could think clearly, and we could handle pressure very well. And Over the past 4 or 5 years, this campus has allowed us to blossom into unique individuals. People have found causes to support, people have found motivators to drive them, people have found grand challenges to overcome, and most importantly, people have found other people to cherish. And it is for the people that I met that I am the most grateful for my time in IIT. Now, much like Columbus, I too may not end up going where I think I am, but I'd like to thank all of you for being a part of my journey nonetheless. This is MM15B040 signing off.
Thank you, Hari, for those wonderful words and for coming and receiving your medal in person.
Bhagyalakshmi and Krishna Iyengar Award for the best project thesis in the field of pollution abatement goes to Aman Vaibhav. In the field of energy efficiency goes to Deepak Prakash. Deepak Prakash also won Prema Nagarajan Setti Prize for the highest CGPA in dual degree engineering design. Sai Smriti Samantari won the Bhagyalakshmi Krishna Iyengar Award for alternative energy application. Archana won the Bhagyalakshmi and Krishna Iyengar Award for pollution abatement. Gaurav Pandey won the Bhagyalakshmi and Krishna Iyengar Award for alternative energy application. Subramanyam Rajalakshmi Indira Prize for the best interdisciplinary BTech project goes to Sajai V of Chemical Engineering. Beauty Foundation Gold Medal Award for the highest CGPA for women student among dual degree MTech MSc programs. American Express Award for the highest CGPA for women student among MTech MSc program. Institute Merit Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in biotechnology. All three prizes are won by Palika Charita. American Express Award for the highest CGPA for women student among BTech dual degree. Alumni Association Prize for the highest CGPA in dual degree computer science and engineering. Joint winner goes to Kavya G, computer science and engineering. GE Eco-Imagination Excellence Award for the best PhD thesis in the area of environmentally friendly green technologies, ecological and environmental protection goes to Ajay Priya Physics. Department-wise awards. HAL prize to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in aerospace engineering goes to Rudra Setu Vijay. Reliance Heat Transfer Private Limited prize to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in chemical engineering goes to Gangal Chinmay Shripad. Larsen and Toubro ECC Endowment Prize to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in civil engineering goes to Easwar Avinash. B. Ravichandran Memorial Prize to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in computer science and engineering goes to R. Rahul. Hema Balasubramanian Excellence Award to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in engineering physics goes to Chari Rajas Premanand. Banco Foundation Prize to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in mechanical engineering goes to Dinesh Bompada. Dr. Dandamani Memorial Prize to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in metallurgical and materials engineering goes to K.R. Kumaresh. American Bureau of Shipping Prize to the BTech student with the highest CGPA in naval architecture and ocean engineering, joint winner Dhruv Bhagatani and Rilekar Rishikesh Ajit. Dr. V. Mohan Raman Prize to the dual degree student with the highest CGPA in aerospace engineering is won by S.K. Venkatesh. Institute Merit Prize to the dual degree student with the highest CGPA in biotechnology, Anand A.R. B. Ravichandran Memorial Prize to the dual degree student with the highest CGPA in chemical engineering, Ashwin Chandrasekhar. N.R. Dave Prize to the dual degree student with the highest CGPA in civil engineering, Nukala Harshavardhan. Alumni Association Prize to the dual degree student with highest CGPA in computer science and engineering, joint winner, Harshavardhan K. Professor G.V.N. Raidu IIT Madras Prize to the dual degree student with the highest CGPA in mechanical engineering goes to Aman Jalan. Anantarama Krishnan Memorial Prize to the dual degree student with the highest CGPA in metallurgical and materials engineering goes to Maitreyi Ramesh. Good Earth Shipbuilding Private Limited Prize to the dual degree student with the highest CGPA in ocean engineering goes to Kare Akshay Dilip. Professor J. Shobnatri Prize to the dual degree student with the highest CGPA in physics is won by Saran Vijayan. Institute Merit Prize to the MA student with the highest CGPA in humanities and social sciences goes to Melvin James. Professor B.V.A. Rao Endowment Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in applied mechanics goes to Vinod Krishnan V. Air India Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in aerospace engineering goes to Panduri Bhavya Naidu. Dr. K. Subbaraju Memorial Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in chemical engineering goes to Vishnu Shankar K.S. Institute Merit Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in civil engineering is won by Kalluri Asha Kiran. CMC Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in computer science and engineering is won by Batish. Siemens Prize to the best MTech student with the highest CGPA in electrical engineering, Prayatam Katakinda. Professor Helmut Munzet Endowment Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in mathematics goes to Nitish Dobal. Professor B. Sengupta Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in mechanical engineering goes to Shartak Rastogi. Sudarshan Bhatt Memorial Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in metallurgical and materials engineering goes to Supriya Anand. Institute Merit Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in ocean engineering goes to Amit Kumar Rati. Sri Krishnamurti Sundarambal Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in physics goes to Swarnendu Banerjee. Ratnanav Memorial Prize to the MSc student with the highest CGPA in chemistry is won by Diksha. Meera Paul Memorial Prize to the MSc student with the highest CGPA in mathematics is won by Saurav Sarkar. Professor Chilukuri Ramasastri Memorial Prize to the MTech student with the highest CGPA in physics goes to Anand Rastogi. Koka Parthasarathi Prize to the MBA student with the highest CGPA in management studies goes to Santosh Igappan. Srimati Jayalakshmi and Sri R. Narsimhan Prize for the PG Diploma student with the highest CGPA in Metro Rail Technology and Management goes to Priya Sai Sujat.
On behalf of all those assembled at this convocation, we present a memento to the chief guest, Professor David Gross, as a token of our appreciation. The memento will be sent to him in due course.
Graduates of the year, I charge you that in thought, word and deed, you will ever maintain the purity, dignity, and integrity of your profession and honor of our institute. Graduates of the year, please take the pledge.
We, the graduates of the Indian Institute of Technology Madras, hereby pledge that we shall, in thought, word, and deed, ever endeavor to be scrupulously honest in the discharge of our duties, that in all circumstances we shall uphold the dignity and integrity of our profession and the honor of our institute and the nation, and that we shall devote all our energies to promote the unity and secular ideal of our country, and utilize our knowledge in the service of our nation and society. Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahe, Tejasvi, Navaditamastu, Mahabhidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti.
Before we conclude today, I'd like to take this opportunity to specially thank Professor A. N. Rajagopalan of the Department of Electrical Engineering and his students, Mahesh, Maitreya, and Kirti, and the executive producer, Mr. Kannan Krishnamurthy, for their wizardry in producing this virtual convocation. I also would like to thank the chairpersons and staff of the engineering unit of our institute for preparing the venue in these difficult times. Thank you.
I declare the convocation closed.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय